UFC President Dana White just announced the main and co-main event of UFC Qatar on November 22nd. The main event is Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, which is a banger, boys. But that's not really the main event, in my opinion. It's not really the main event. And I have to be honest, I don't want to be an alarmist here. We might have a civil war going down soon. I hate to be the guy to break this down, but the co-main event is Belal Muhammad versus Ian Garry. UFC Qatar is a straight up heater. I mean, this is two headliners in my opinion. This is two headliners. I mean, how is this not? This is a double main event for a UFC Fight Night card. How good does that feel? How good does that feel to get a Fight Night card and be like, this is actually good? We're getting ranked contenders fighting each other on a card. It's just insane to me how essentially Dana White and the UFC is just for sale to the highest bidder. They don't put any good cards in Las Vegas, any good Fight Night cards, really in the United States, period. But the Middle East is just shelling out that oil money and getting banger cards like this. Absolutely love both matchups. We're going to break down both matchups. Also, I want to listen to a clip from Dana White during his announcement that I think is very, very important, but we're going to check that out a little bit later. But man, this card overall is a straight up heater, and this could potentially mean Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, but I'm going to say not so fast. I'm not so sure that's definitely going to happen, but it appears it's pointing in that direction. We'll talk about that as well. But you look at the full card that we have announced so far. Arman Tsarukyan, Dan Hooker, Belal Muhammad, Ian Garry, Alex Perez, Asul Almabayev, Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev, Jack Hermanson versus Muktabek Orobai, even Felipe Lima versus Daniel Marcos is a straight-up heater. So UFC Qatar, November 22nd, great Fight Night card. This is really damn good. I'm actually excited for this matchup, but I am in a way disappointed because as much as I love these fights, and we're going to break them down, and I'm going to go off about how much I love these matchups, I always feel like they could have done a little bit better. And I know people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I was hoping that the UFC would announce today, December pay-per-view, Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. I know there's the people out there like, Arman, he bailed out of a fight with a back. He had an injury. It's not like he's a habitual pull-out merchant. This is his first and only pull-out in the UFC ever. He's been punished enough. Okay, he weighed in as a backup for UFC 317. Let's just give him the title shot. Let's make the best fight the lightweight division has to offer. But instead, we're making him fight Dan Hooker, which he's probably going to win anyway. Spoiler alert on the early prediction. But nonetheless, it is what it is. And I do believe that Arman Tsarukyan can still get the next title shot because I'm not sure when Ilia Topuria is going to fight next. Ilia Topuria may be a disaster for the lightweight division, and he may sit out. He may not fight, honestly, until mid-next year, mid-2026. He may not fight till late first quarter 2026. I know a lot of people are like, it's going to be Ilia Paddy, the main event of the first Paramount card. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what the UFC is planning. I'm not 100% sure. And either way, there's a chance Arman could still headline that card. There's still a chance you could get Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I definitely think that's going to happen, but it's still a possibility because if Arman makes quick work of Dan Hooker, again, there's no guarantee of that, he could fight in January. He's missed some time. He's kind of been a Michael Chandler over the last, 16, 17 months because of the injury, and then he's been, kind of waiting for a big fight, allegedly turned down Gamrot, whatever. Either way, he's finally accepted a fight. He's finally getting back in the mix. I just don't think a win over Dan Hooker is going to satisfy the fans that are like, man, Arman pulled out because of Nina drama. Let's just pump the brakes on that bullshit narrative. If Arman beats Dan Hooker, he needs to be the number one contender. He needs to be next in line for a title shot. And what's going to be annoying is if he wins this fight in November, and let's say Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett maybe doesn't happen till February, March, April, even May even, then Arman's going to sit out for another year waiting for another title shot that may not even come to fruition depending on what Ilia Topuria beats Paddy and Islam beats JDM in November, you bet your sweet ass Ilia Topuria is going to be like, I'm going to welterweight. I'm chasing after Islam because it's everything to win, nothing to lose. So the lightweight division is kind of in disarray right now. I'm hoping it kind of all works out. But I absolutely love Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. Arman's on a crazy win streak. I don't think Arman gets enough credit. You look at his win streak right now, it's insane. His last loss was June of 2022 against Mateusz Gamrot, which wasn't even a real loss. He got robbed in this fight. It was a close fight, but Arman clearly won this fight. There was a round that the judges gave to Gamrot, and that round was close, and Arman dropped Gamrot. So there's almost no doubt in my mind that Arman won that fight. Before that, his last loss is Islam. And I know he earned a title shot. You know, he beat Charles Oliveira at UFC 300. He earned a title shot. He pulled out. It is what it is. He suffered from a back injury. And he's taking on Dan Hooker, who was kind of left for dead at one point in time. A lot of people were writing off Dan Hooker. It's crazy. 2 straight losses. Lost 4 out of his last 5 at one point. Lost to Dustin Poirier. Lost to Michael Chandler. Beat Nasrat Haqparast. Then lost to Islam. Lost to Arnold Allen. Both via finish. And everyone was like, oh, he's kind of done. He's washed up. He's out of the lightweight division. And then boom, he beats Claudio Puelles. Boom, he beats Jalen Turner via split decision. Boom, he beats Mateusz Gamrot via split decision. Both of those kind of controversial, but it wasn't neither one of those fights were brutal robberies. And now he gets an opportunity. If he beats Arman, I'm going to be honest. If he beats Arman, Dan Hooker's #1 contender. How can you deny Jalen Turner, Gamrot, and then Arman to top it off for a win streak? I know Puelles, but that doesn't really matter. Even Jalen Turner really doesn't matter, but you get my point. If he beats Arman, I'm all in favor of Dan Hooker getting the next title shot because Paddy Pimblett right now, his last win is Charles Oliveira. Or not Charles Oliveira, sorry. I'm dumb. It's Michael Chandler who is on a losing streak. Makes absolutely no sense. Chandler just lost to Charles Oliveira. That's probably what I was thinking of there. But I think the most deserving lightweight contender is coming out of the main event at UFC Qatar. Now, ultimately, how can you not go Arman Tsarukyan in this fight? I really do believe Arman is going to go out there and get it done. His striking is evolving. His grappling is nasty. He has nasty offensive wrestling, control, does good damage, has good jiu-jitsu, can avoid submissions, has good cardio. Where does Dan Hooker win? Because Dan Hooker, while he's a very good striker, he's not the best grappler. He's not a horrible grappler. He's not a guy that's just helpless off his back. But at the same time, it's like a lot of his wins come from just being super durable and tough, and like Jalen Turner slowing down and Gamrot slowing down. And he's getting by razor close decision wins against Jalen Turner and Gamrot. And I think Arman is significantly better than both those guys. I think Arman has one-punch KO power. We haven't seen it a lot. It's not the touch of death by any means, but he has power you have to respect. He has nasty kicks. He's very durable. He has good stamina. He has good fight IQ. He's in the prime of his career. I'm not sure Dan Hooker's there. And also, I don't trust a guy getting this many tattoos this late in his life. Midlife crisis if I've ever seen one. So I'm pretty confident that Arman Tsarukyan will get it done. And I think he has to be next for Ilia Topuria. But again, you look at the rankings right now. Who doesn't have a fight? So you look at the rankings right now. Islam's there, but he's at welterweight now and has a fight against Jack Della Maddalena. Max Holloway already lost to Ilia Topuria, so he's out of the mix. Charles Oliveira is coming up a fight in a couple weeks against Mateusz Gamrot. Justin Gaethje's waiting for a title fight that he doesn't deserve on a 1-fight win streak, which is an embarrassment against a short-notice Rafael Fiziev. Dan Hooker obviously fighting Arman. Paddy Pimblett's available. Gamrot is fighting Charles, which I already mentioned. Dariush allegedly is fighting Benoit Saint-Denis in November as well, which is actually a banger matchup. I think BSD runs through him. And then Fiziev's injured. Moicano's turning down fights to pursue his YouTube career, even though he's like, I cannot afford to lose, brother. Bitcoin. He's a bum, overrated bum. People were hyping up just because he talks a lot. So really, if you're looking at the current landscape of the lightweight division, you have Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. If Ilia Topuria defends his title against Justin Gaethje, the sport is dead. Paddy Pimblett, okay, I get it. It's a massive fight. They have the whole, promotion back and forth, whatnot, and Paddy's on a decent streak. I would have preferred Paddy getting the title shot than Charles Oliveira, who's coming off a 1-fight win streak over Chandler. Paddy at least was on a long win streak and had demolished Michael Chandler and stopped him, unlike Oliveira, who went to a decision with him. But right now, it all depends on the timeline. So if it's going to happen in January, Ilya can fight Paddy. And then Arman, if he beats Dan Hooker, or the winner of Arman, Dan Hooker, can fight Topuria or Paddy later in 2026. So it's all we're going to have to see how it plays out. But I really do believe Arman gets it done. He's better than Dan Hooker everywhere. And Dan Hooker's getting up there in age. He has a lot of miles on him. Actually, how old is Dan Hooker? That's the crazy thing. I'm not even sure. He's 35. Arman's like 32, right? Arman's 28. Arman is 28 years old. That's wild. So Arman's 28, Dan Hooker's 35. The age factor, Arman's more well-rounded. Arman hasn't taken any damage throughout his career, really. I think Arman Tsarukyan gets it done. Next fight on the card, boys. Let's talk about the real main event. The co-main event. We have Belal Muhammad versus Ian Garry. So I absolutely love this fight. We got a bit of a civil war brewing in the MMA Joey community. I love this fight, but at the same time, I want to bitch and moan. It's crazy. I know people are going to be like, Joey, all you do is complain about everything. Look, I would have rather seen Arman versus Topuria December pay-per-view. And with this fight, even though I love it, I would have much rather seen Belal Muhammad versus Kamaru Usman. I would have much rather seen Ian Garry versus Sean Brady. Or even Leon Edwards, who's now fighting Carlos Prates, who Garry already butchered on the feet and on the ground. So, again, I love this matchup. Gary's finally getting the respect that he deserves. He's getting the number one contender, the number one ranked guy, Belal Muhammad, former welterweight champion. I think this is a number one contender fight as well. The winner of this fight should fight for the welterweight championship. The winner of Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena in November, UFC 322, I believe it is. This should be the number one contender fight here. Belal wins, he should fight for the title next. I know the Islam thing, I don't know how that's going to play out. Garry has earned it at this point. I'll say this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. People say I'm biased. I don't really count the Shavkat loss. I'm not propping him up off a loss because I already knew how good he was. People say, Joe, you prop him up. You break your golden rule. Don't elevate a guy off a loss. I'm not elevating him. I thought he beat Shavkat. I thought he would beat Shavkat. And I thought he'd be a future champion. How am I elevating him? But nonetheless, how can you not respect Ian Garry? I mean, anybody, anywhere, anytime. And that's what brings me to this clip. Let's play this clip from Dana White looking like he's being held hostage announcing fights. Listen to what Dana had to say about the co-main event, which is really the main event, let's be honest.
Co-main event is going to be former champ and number one ranked contender Belal Muhammad taking on the number 6 ranked Ian Garry. Muhammad went on an 11-fight win streak to earn the welterweight title, and he's looking to get back with a win over Garry. Now, Garry coming off an impressive win over Carlos Prates. He has become that guy that is literally down to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Every time we call him, he takes a fight. He doesn't give a shit who the opponent is.
Facts. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. Belal Muhammad, yes. Carlos Prates on short notice, yes. Shavkat Rakhmonov, the boogeyman in the division on short notice, yes. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. This is the people's main event. Belal, anybody, anywhere, anytime. Ian Garry, anywhere, anytime. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. I said it backwards that time. Give Garry the respect that he deserves. I'm tired of people acting like Garry isn't good because they simply don't like his personality. What are you, gay? Are you fantasizing about dating him? You're like, man, I don't like his personality. Okay, if you're gay, that's all right. That's fine by me. That's your business. I don't care. But you're like, man, I'm not a big fan of his personality, brother. If you don't want to like his personality, again, that is actually fine as well. It's a little weird, okay? You're a grown man, most likely worried about another grown man's personality. But why are you letting that bias dictate your assessment of his skills? He is one of the best welterweight fighters in the world. And in my opinion right now, he's the best welterweight in the world. I know it's a hot take. People are going to be like, you're glazing Garry because people don't like him. No. I picked him to beat Shavkat. That's how much I believe in Ian Garry. Full camp, Garry beats Shavkat. And by the way, where is Shavkat? Shavkat is who people acted like Khamzat Chimaev was in terms of like pullouts and disappearing and injuries. But nonetheless, Garry deserves your respect. And how funny is it? We're getting Belal Muhammad versus Ian Garry, arguably a number one contender welterweight matchup. And these guys are getting ducked like their life's dependent on it, okay? Who did Belal want? Usman. Kamaru Usman. Usman ducked Belal like his life depended on it. He was scared of fighting Belal. Usman did not want this fight. Kamaru Usman was shitting his britches like they were going out of style at the thought of fighting Belal Muhammad. And guess what? You know what's funny about that? Colby Covington was shitting his britches like they were going out of style in fear of stepping in the cage with Ian Garry, the true alpha male of the welterweight division. So there's some parallels here, man. You got two of the best welterweights in the world. And this really, I know Belal is getting up there in age. Now he's a former champion. This really signifies the turning over of the welterweight division. Because at one point, Usman and Mr. Participation Trophy Colby Covington was at the top of the division. And they both ran from fights with these guys here. They didn't want them. And now we're left with two elite level welterweights fighting for the next welterweight title shot. And I absolutely love this matchup. I love this matchup. Both are super well rounded. I know people act like JDM dominated Belal and this and that. It was a 99% boxing match. And it was a razor close fight with him and JDM. They both busted each other up, did a lot of damage. Belal's hands have been vastly improving. And I do believe that Belal got a little bit ahead of himself, started believing in himself a little bit too much, and kind of strayed away from a legitimate game plan against JDM. And I think it cost him. But he's getting up there in age. He's getting up there in age, and Ian Garry is amazing everywhere. His striking is elite. His fight IQ is elite. His leg kicks are elite. His grappling is elite. Almost sub Shavkat Rakhmonov. And I said this before. I was asked, Joey, who would you pick? Belal or Garry? This was when Belal was champion. I said, listen, early 2025, first half of 2025, I'm going Belal Muhammad. Second half of 2025 and beyond, I'm going Ian Garry. And I have to stick with that. I have to stand by that. Gary's too good. And he's still improving. Look at Garry. I mean, Gary's 16-1. Only loss is a razor-close decision loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov. A fight that he took on short notice against an undefeated guy who finished everyone he had fought before Garry. Gary's only 27 years old. Belal's been around forever. He's got miles on him. He took a lot of damage against JDM. He's 37, going on 38. How can you not pick Ian Garry in this one? I don't know how you can go with Belal, because what's Belal's path to victory? I know his boxing has improved. I don't think he's outstriking Garry. Can he outgrapple Garry? I don't think he's taking Garry down and controlling him by any means. I really don't. And again, and even in the striking, as much as Belal's striking has improved, people were saying, man, Prates, man, his Muay Thai, his striking is nasty. And what did Garry do? He went out there and boxed Carlos Prates' face off. Brutalized him, out-grappled him, outstruck him, outclassed him everywhere. One moment in the 5th round where Garry wasn't even close to getting finished, people act like he was. Like, man, Prates almost won. Well, what did Prates do afterwards? Went out there and slumped Jeff Neal. So I really do believe in Garry. I think everyone should realize Gary's an elite fighter. He's at the top of the welterweight division. Stop letting your bias get in the way of your assessment of their skills. But I do think there's a chance Belal could win this fight. I do think there is. I just think all the factors are against him, man. Belal versus Usman should have happened. It really should have happened. I think Belal would have wrecked Usman. Usman's not getting him down, and Belal's the far better striker than Usman. Usman would have had a power advantage. Belal has a great chin. JDM isn't really hurting him. Not hurting him, but isn't getting close to really putting him away. I don't think Usman would have, especially at an advanced age where he sat out for a while and was on a 3-fight losing streak and then finally got a win over Buckley. I think Belal would have beat Usman. I think Usman knows that. I think Usman's trying to hold out hope that his former welterweight title reign can earn him a title shot now. And instead of fighting Belal, man, So we got a great matchup. I really do believe this is the real main event. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments. Which is the better fight? Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, or Belal Muhammad versus Ian Garry? But yeah, I have to go with Garry. I think this is a fight that's going to cause a civil war in the community around here, okay? Because I'm a big fan of both guys. And I know a lot of people like to say, Joey, you just pick guys out that nobody likes and you're a contrarian. Why wouldn't I like Belal Muhammad and Ian Garry? They're not scared to fight anyone. They're not ducking anyone. They want the toughest fights they can get in their divisions because they believe in themselves. They're not like that little pussy beta male soy boy Colby Covington who will duck people like his life depends on it. Ran from Ian Garry. He wouldn't fight Belal. Belal wanted to fight him for a while as well. Colby ducked him. Colby's like, who's Belal? I don't know who Belal is. And now they're fighting each other. I'll tell you this right now. If Garry wins and he doesn't get a title shot, what a travesty that is. Because at this point, he's deserved it. I mean, look at the run he's on. Look at the run he's on. He beat Carlos Prates on short notice. He barely lost to Shavkat on short notice. Beat MVP, who's super tricky and doing shit at middleweight now. Beat Jeff Neal. Beat up Neil Magny. Beat Daniel Rodriguez. He's on this great long streak. I know the Shavkat loss is technically in there, so I guess it's really not a long streak. But you get my point. I don't really include the Shavkat loss. And if Garry goes out there and beats the former champion Belal Muhammad, only the second guy to beat him in many years, who are you giving a title shot to instead? So right now you have Islam versus JDM. Whoever wins that fight, whether it be Islam, JDM, I think Islam's going to win. So let's say Islam's the champion. Who's getting the next title fight? Who's Sean Brady fighting next? Who's Sean Brady gonna fight next? I really don't know. I really don't know. He's coming off a win over Leon Edwards, but Garry, a win over Belal, is much better than a win over Leon Edwards. Shavkat, at this point, I think he's forfeited his title shot. I know that sounds crazy to say, but getting a razor close decision win over Garry a year ago at this point doesn't really cut it nowadays. It's kind of forfeited. He's going to have to come back and probably get a win depending on timing. I mean, I love to see Islam versus Shavkat. That would be filthy. Leon obviously isn't getting it. Usman shouldn't get it. Buckley's coming off a loss. I mean, Michael Morales is on the come up as well. Who is he fighting? I'm trying to think. Who's Michael Morales fighting? Didn't he just get a fight booked? For some reason, I can't. Does he not have a fight booked? Let me search this real quick. I should know this off the top of my head. I swear, didn't he have a fight booked? No, he doesn't. So he beat Gilbert Burns, but he doesn't have a fight booked. So, yeah. Michael Morales is on the come up. He's coming off a win over Burns. A win over Belal by Ian Garry should earn him a title shot. And ultimately, man, Islam or JDM, regardless who wins, versus Ian Garry or Belal Muhammad, I think is a banger. I know I'm going to be in the minority. I wouldn't mind seeing JDM and Belal ran back. I know a lot of people want to see Islam Makhachev versus Belal Muhammad again. We don't know how that's going to play out. But I don't think we're really going to have to worry about that because I do believe Ian Machado will get it done. But honestly, I just want a good fight. I'm rooting for both guys. Both of these guys will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. They're not ducking. They're not running. They speak facts. People are like, oh, man, they're shit talkers. They're cringe. They're cringe. Gary's a cook. Which isn't true, by the way. People just hate on Garry because he's got a hot wife. And most of these people hating on Garry are incels and make up weird fantasy tales about his personal life to hate on him for whatever reason. But yeah, this is the true main event. Belal Muhammad, Ian Garry, true people's main event. Absolutely can't wait for UFC Qatar, November 22nd. It's right around the corner, really. It's really right around the corner. I mean, it's already October 1st. How crazy is that? Already October 1st. But just to wrap this one up, boys, I'm picking Arman over Dan Hooker. I'm picking Garry over Belal Muhammad. And what a civil war on the channel this is going to start. Because I am the president of the Ian Garry fan club. We all know that. Because I like guys who are willing to take on all comers, who aren't scared to put their ranking on the line, who aren't scared to step in on short notice, who aren't scared to step to those waters, who aren't scared to buck up. I like guys like that. And I think Garry really has a chance. And he's finally actually getting the respect that he deserves. Like, we keep waiting. When's Garry getting this big matchup? When he's getting this big matchup? I mean, he got the fight against Shavkat on short notice. But again, that's short notice. He's finally getting the matchup he deserves. He's fighting the #1 ranked guy and a former champion in Belal Muhammad to get a staple win on his resume to earn the next title shot. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of this fight card. And I'll see you guys in the next video.